Hey, James Joe, Borgay, PHNX Sports. Good to see you.
You too. How you doing?
Good. I know we've talked a lot about the point guard thing, the pros and cons of that situation. You guys were able to get Monte Morris and then Tyus Jones after that. Now that you do have two more traditional point guards, what kind of stands out as the pros and potential cons of that?
I think those two guys, Tyus and Monte, I think Matt talked about it earlier, historically good as far as taking care of the ball and leading their teams. I think what it'll do is give our guys a little comfort and a little more trust in the offense and the ball movement. We want to shoot more threes. We want the ball to pop. We want the ball to move. And as long as those guys are somewhat the conduit in between, I think whichever decision they make, will be an optimal decision, and I know everyone will respect it. And so those are some of the challenges you have when you don't have a traditional point guard. But at the same time, they're not the traditional point guards. They're exceptional in the sense that they can make shots, extremely efficient with the ball. And so the combination of skills, the skill set that the two of them possess, is unique, and uniquely for our team, it's going to make us special.
It's Dwayne Rankin, Arizona Republic. How are you, sir?
Hey, Dwayne, how you doing?
All right, nice tie.
Thanks, appreciate it. You too?
No. Real quick, just a couple things. One, with Durant and obviously the extension, how much conversation has there been in trying to, A, get that done, and then B, with a three-guard lineup, how do you like that look of Beal, Tyus, and Devin in today's NBA?
I mean, well, we love having KD here. We want him here. We'll figure that out. Like Matt said, we don't really talk about that publicly, but the thing we do talk about publicly is who really wants to be here and who's a great fit for us. And so we love KD. He loves being here. That goes without saying. And there was a second part of your question.
Just the three-guard lineup.
The three-guard lineup. I look at it from, we always talk about how you start. You want to talk about how you start. You definitely want to talk about how you finish. But when you have three guards out there, what it means is that you're dynamic. The other two guys out there, whoever they are, the 4, the 5, however you want to categorize them and classify them, they're always one pass away from a playmaker. And that's helpful when you're talking about a high-powered offense like us. I talked about it when I said having Monte and Tyus as the conduit or the intermediary between two sides of the floor will give everyone a little more confidence and trust that the right plays will be made. So now we just added another player out there who can make the right plays, make the right shots, make the right decisions, and make us more efficient offensively, which to us is our competitive advantage given that we have three of the best from a guard perspective with Devin and Brad and KD. We have three of the best offensive players in the game.
Hey James, Brendan Clean, Locked On Suns podcast. Last offseason, you used the phrase mid-prime veteran quite a bit with some of the players that you targeted to round out the roster. What made you lean more toward guys like Mason and Monte and Tyus, who are clearly kind of in their prime veteran players, as opposed to that approach to get that depth around the big three?
Well, we're different this year, and I think every season is different, especially when we talk about leadership. We have an entirely different coaching staff, entirely different strategy for winning, and our team has matured. So a year with Devin and Kevin playing their games, as you saw in the Olympics, it continues to evolve, and they complement each other. And every time you have a tweak or a shift in the way the game is played amongst your core players, you have to think about how that impacts your role players, your secondary players, your backline players, your starters that accompany those guys. And so as our team continues to shift, every year our focus will have to be different, given the constraints that we have from a team building perspective. I thought we did a fairly good job retaining our free agents so that we had that continuity, because those guys adjusted their style of play to fit our core guys. And so if we can continue to stack that and build that and grow that, I believe we give ourselves a chance to compete.
James, Richard Science, Fox 10, good to see you.
Hey, good to see you.
You talked about you're excited for this season because you feel this team has a shot. If anybody knows what a championship team looks like, it's you. You've done it 3 times. What is it about this particular group that makes you say, this is it?
One, when you go through what we went through last year, the ups and downs, the injury battles, the struggles, the way our season ended last year, you can tell right away in the summer where the guys are about it, if they're really in for that championship fight. And we've had great participation in the gym. Devin and Kevin were playing in Paris. We had the rest of our guys who are here in the gym every single day. Our guys started playing pickup basketball the first week in September, and not like guys normally do when they just come into the gym and try to get a sweat. I mean, they were really working together to get better. And so when you start to see those signs, it gives you confidence because you know those are the times they don't have to be here, but they choose to be here, working together and trying to gain a competitive advantage. And so I think this team is different than last year's team, not just because it's 2024, 2025. It's really because the players that are on this team, those that are returning, plus the additions that we've made, truly believe that we're all in. And that's the one thing I talk about this team a lot, is what we want. We always want to be in. We always want to be in the conversation for competing for a championship. We always want to be in the playoffs, and that resonates with our guys.
Kellen Olsen, Arizona Sports. James, great to see you. With Brad and his role last year on the team and how you guys at times had him being the point guard, Tyus and Monte come in, how do you expect that to free up Brad and allow him to get back to the player that he's been in the past?
Brad's a player, so I think it'll give him a little more balance where he can get to his natural position as a two guard. But it also helps him because the guys that we brought in are phenomenal playing off the ball, so he doesn't have to lose the opportunity to be the primary initiator, ball handler, and think aggressively offensively. So I think he'll be in a really good spot. And when you talk about sharing the game, I think the lessons that we learned last year, if you ask Devin and Kevin, is that they can do more to share the game because they trust and they know who they're playing with. So I expect Brad to be great and get back to that confidence level as an off guard that he's always exhibited as a player.
Hey James, Shane on Forbes. You mentioned it seems like a big theme is getting a lot more threes this season. I'm curious, what's the level of buy-in you've gotten from the big three specifically, given that they're historically mid-range heavy players?
They've been great. Those guys are shot makers, right? And if the shots that are presented, the shots that are created are threes, they'll take them. And if the shots that are created are mid-range shots, they'll take them as well. For us, it's really just timing. Right, like last year, a lot of our offensive sets got us late in the shot clock, where we didn't have the opportunity to collapse the paint, drive, kick it, and get to a second side or backside three. I think we'll be able to do that with an emphasis on pace and just really more about the positional alignment on the floor. So they're all in on it. They love scoring. They know that threes are worth more than twos, and if we can create more catch and shoot opportunities for them, they gladly take them.
James, I'm sorry. Anybody have the mic?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dana has it.
Go ahead.
I'll get over to you when I'm done. So, was wondering about how there's been a short history of hometown guys that you've had on the team here, or before you became into your position. Alan Williams, and then also DeAndre Ayton, and then Sagan Lee, and now Ty and Oso. So how important is it to have guys who are homegrown on the roster or something for fans to root for?
I mean, that's always a consideration, but I think it really speaks more to the quality of basketball here in Phoenix. Phoenix is a basketball city, and there's a lot of talent. If we talk about from a high school perspective, from a college perspective, these guys are really good players as amateurs, and as they come up into the NBA ranks. If there's an opportunity to get a player who's just a really good player, plus has local ties, I'm pretty sure it's great for the fan base, but more importantly, it's great for the players. There's always a little bit more that you put out when you get a chance to do it at home in front of your fans, in front of your family, for your community. A lot of these guys are inspired by the game that they watch here, and they want to be that inspiration for their community. So it's a win-win for both of us when we're able to find a player, not just because he's from Phoenix, but he's from Phoenix, but on top of that, a really good NBA player.
Doug, last one with James.
It's Doug Howler with The Athletic.
Hey, Doug, how you doing?
Good to see you. There was a lot of, Kevin Durant had a calf injury in Paris, and when he came back, there was a lot of concern about his minutes restriction. What's he going to provide? What role does he play? And then he went out and hit his first 8 shots and looked as good as he's ever looked. I'm assuming you watched that. What was your reaction just to how he came back and played when everyone was kind of wondering how he would be?
I mean, my reaction is like it always is with players of Kevin's caliber. Why is anyone surprised, right? The guy loves the game more than anything. He's totally dedicated. He's a Hall of Famer because he puts in the work and he prepares, and he wants to be great. And so anything he puts his mind to, if he wants to come back and play at a superstar level, he will. And I don't think there's ever been anything in his history that's given anyone any pause or any disbelief that Kevin will come back when he comes back and perform at a high level. So I'm just always excited for him, right? Because, you know, he's at the stage of his career where he's played 15 plus NBA years, and everyone wants to ask that question, and he continues to show people day in and day out, year after year, why he's one of the greatest scorers of all time and why he'll go down as one of, if not the greatest scorer of all time.